Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 15 of the Maybe Mounjaro series. As you can see in the previous clip, today is injection day, and I took my injection, went through the whole process of that. I almost forgot to take my medicine, but I took it today. Today's experience was one of palpitations. Today I've been experiencing a lot of palpitations, and my heart rate was up today, and I'm going to attribute that to matcha. So as we all know, I take Adderall. I've been taking Adderall for years, since nursing school, with the exception of my pregnancies. I've been taking Adderall for years. I took my Adderall, took my B12, my whole vitamin regimen, probiotics, Pepsid, all of that jazz. Took all of that today. Went to Starbucks to go get a green tea. What is that? The lavender oat milk green tea matcha. I have been having palpitations all day. I did not realize. I knew, but I did not realize, because I drink it not all the time, but sparingly. I did not realize that matcha can make me have so much palpitations. So when it comes to caffeine and Mounjaro, because I do have my occasional coffee too, with this extra shot of espresso, and see, what I don't understand is that when I have the extra shot of espresso, I don't have the palpitations. Maybe I wasn't drinking enough water like I thought I would. I thought I was drinking a lot of water today, but I guess I wasn't. I drank my water to make sure I wasn't dehydrated with it, but it's just the palpitations have been quite worrisome to me. But it's not at a point where I feel like I'm in like atrial fibrillation, and the irregular heart rhythm can lead to a lethal heart rhythm. I don't feel like I'm in atrial fibrillation or anything like that. It's just that I feel like I've been having palpitations, like I had a conscious awareness of my heart beating all day long. So I've been trying to increase my water intake so that I can not be dehydrated, because it can speed up your heart rate. And like I said previously, it is known that Mounjaro can speed up your heart a little bit, but that's like no more than about 10 beats a minute from what your normal heart rate usually is. So caffeine with Mounjaro, in some instances, can cause what we know as a low blood sugar, hypoglycemia. The caffeine can increase that risk of episodes of hypoglycemia. You have to limit and moderate your caffeine intake while being on Mounjaro. There are many of us that are caffeine lovers out there and have to have our cup of coffee daily. So with that being said, we need to, as everything that we talk about here on this channel, moderation. Caffeine in moderation. As you can have maybe a cup a day, a half a cup a day, a couple of ounces a day. Like generally when I have coffee in the morning, especially with that extra shot, I usually get the extra shot some days that I haven't taken my Adderall, or the days that I have not had much sleep the night before. And with my caffeine intake, I do increase my water intake. Now, I personally have not ran into episodes of hypoglycemia, but whenever I'm feeling hypoglycemic, I usually keep my blood sugar machine, and I call it a sugar machine. That's just what I call it. I'll call it a sugar machine the entire time I have been a nurse. In all of my 11 years of being a nurse, it is the sugar machine. It will never be the glucometer. It will never be the blood glucose meter. It is the sugar machine. Keep my sugar machine with me. And I check my blood sugar, because usually when I am experiencing low blood sugar, I check it. Like I get jittery, I have palpitations, and it may be what was happening. Generally, am aware of when my blood sugar is low, and hypoglycemia is important to recognize the signs and symptoms for early treatment, because like I say, hypoglycemia can be lethal and it can be dangerous. So we have to be aware and recognize those signs and symptoms early so that we can treat them, especially if we are by ourselves. Caffeine intake on Mounjaro is something that we need to take in moderation if we just have to have that caffeine in our system, because sometimes lack of caffeine can cause headaches, and caffeine cures headaches. That's why we take Esgic, Excedrin, and Fioricet, just to name a few medications for headaches and migraines. Now, caffeine is known to cause the jitteriness, the increase of heart rate, and sleep disturbances. And I personally experience lack of sleep in my daily life. That's just the life I live, lack of sleep 4 to 6 hours a day. Sleep hygiene is very important. However, I do not practice what I preach, because they say there's no advice like a fool's advice. You can have the caffeine, but limiting it and in moderation is where it's going to be, if you're going to take in caffeine while being on Mounjaro. Now, what the components of Mounjaro is, not 100% sure. I was like, why are you putting something in your body you don't know what it is? Because it works. It works. That's why I'm putting something in my body that I don't know what it is, because it works. I've lost 100 pounds. 100 pounds I never thought that I would be able to get rid of on my own. Very assistive in my weight loss journey and in my diabetic management journey. So that's why I'm going to continue to put this medication in my body unless it says, no, ma'am, you can't have it anymore. We're done. You got to get off of this. That's just me. And I'm going to stay on Mounjaro as long as I can. And I'm going to continue to do it. So I'm going to have to stay away from matcha while I'm on this journey. I'm going to stay away from the matcha because apparently matcha has a lot of caffeine in it. And I was not, usually when I drink the green tea matcha from Starbucks, it's a green tea lavender oat milk matcha, whatever, I don't get the jitteriness. But today I just had to have a venti because I had not had breakfast at all, because I'm not hungry in the mornings. So my final thought of the night will be, when it comes to caffeine and being on Mounjaro, be careful. Do not drink the biggest cup of coffee you can find. 6 to 8 ounces or less would be ideal. So we don't need that large cup of coffee. We'll take a small and we'll keep it moving. But if you're going to drink matcha, please be careful with it, because the level of caffeine that is in it may send you into having some palpitations. And if there's palpitations that you cannot, that it's concerning to you, please seek medical attention. Please see, if you have a cardiologist, see a cardiologist, go to the nearest ER. I'm telling you, sending yourself into an arrhythmia because of an increase of caffeine, and it's maybe unintentional. Seek professional help. And when I say seek professional help, I mean go to the ER. This is Nurse KP. I would like to say thank you all for taking the time to watch my video and spending another night with me. If you have any questions, comments, or anything that we would like to discuss, do so below in the comments. You can find me on Instagram at Nurse KP. And I'm signing off for the night. Good night, you all. I'm going to bed.